Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to ESBN, and most importantly, welcome to the beautiful West Allis, Wisconsin, to the Milwaukee Mile for round number 10 of the Western States Racing League Truck Series. Tonight, we've hit the halfway point of the season. The points battle is heating up between your top five, and we're gonna see who's gonna come out on top, and if anybody can stop the dominance that was shown last week by Kyle McCartney. My name is Ryan Williams. I'm joined tonight in the booth by executive producer Sam Cooper Bennett, as well as Mr. Ben Bruno on Color Comms. Ben, we saw an amazing race last weekend. Completely different racetrack this time around. What are we looking for out of the Milwaukee Mile here tonight?
Yeah, we're at the halfway point of the season here. Round number 10 of 20 for the Western States Racing League Truck Series here, Ryan. The points are really tight right now. It's really going to come down to, I always say it, managing the truck, managing the tires, and keeping yourself up front. And obviously at a track like this, qualifying well is going to be extremely important.
Well, in the previous 43 seasons, now the 44th season of the WSRL Truck Series, a lot of these guys have learned how to establish a points lead and walk away with the points lead. As right now, it's all Bentley Glazer up top. And if he can continue to have those good dominating performances, top 3, top 5, top 6, top 7 finishes, he will easily walk away with this one. But a man who last weekend established himself as one of those front runners was Kyle McCartney as he picked up a win. But a lot of attention last week went to driver number 30. That was Ryan Patty, who made his first start with the series last week, I should say. Dominated most of that race, but fell behind late and got some damage. We're going to look at Ryan Patty to be one of those front runners once again here tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ryan. And, there's no slouches back here behind Bentley in points right now. You got Beltrami sitting second, Brian Barnes, who had an excellent run last week, sitting third, Jeff Hollingsworth, who I talked to, finishing second last week, third in points right now, currently tied with Brian Barnes.
Yeah, it was a tough race for Brian Barnes last week. He took a big fall in the points. Still slated ahead of Hollingsworth in the point standings, but if Hollingsworth has another good run, Barnes has another bad run, that's going to be reversed, and vice versa if Barnes is able to pull out a good run here tonight. And so far, he looks decent in practice, about mid-pack for Brian Barnes, and his competition right there, Hollingsworth, he's a good bit faster. So Barnes is going to have to pull out all the stops here. Once again, we have 120 laps at the Milwaukee Mile here tonight. And these drivers will be forced to pit with 4 sets of Goodyear Racing Eagles. That is it. 4 sets of tires, unlimited fuel, fixed setup to Milwaukee, 78 degrees, 97-degree track temperature after they've run it in for a good while here in practice. We're getting right into your quick time qualifying. And ladies and gentlemen, it's about to heat up here in beautiful Wisconsin. A lot of guys getting on track early and often. Carl Burke, Ryan Patty, Earl Weaver, the first 3 that we see come out, as well as now Bentley Glazer. So who's going to put in that fast time? It's probably going to be Weaver, as he's the first one onto the racing surface. Weaver last week was one, I believe, Ben, if you'll think back and you're thinking noodle, Earl Weaver was that one that we saw take that wild ride, shoot straight up to the sky like Buzz Lightyear, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he might have set the record for height on iRacing in a truck on that one. It was something else to see. If you didn't catch it, go back and watch it, because it was quite the wreck.
It very well was, and Weaver's going to look to bounce right back from all of that last week. And other cars on the track, like I said, Jackson Bell's now getting on the track. Carl Burke as well. He's there. David Weaver coming around. No times in just yet. Everybody on their first lap. Wayne Hutchinson coming around to take his first lap as well. So we'll keep an eye on Earl Weaver really quickly as he comes off of turn number 4. Might be a lightning quick time out of the gate. Not quite as Patty's even faster as they come across at the exact same time. Patty's currently sitting atop your board.
And Patty's looking to put another good run here together. That's going to help him out as Wayne Hutchison grabs the top spot with a 30.104. David Weaver coming in at fourth with a 30.715 right now.
Hutchison in a different area code than everybody else so far at a 3104. Oh, Jackson Bell, quick time right now at a 30.070. We may even see somebody crack the 29-second bracket. We only saw one person do it in practice, and that was Bentley Glazer, who is yet to take a time. Glazer may still be on his first lap. Still no time for Glazer, as he's still sitting on pit road, never even came out. So he looked back onto the track. Still Bell up top. Hutchison, Burt, Fletcher, Barnes, Patty, Weaver have taken time so far.
Brian Barnes looking to have a solid run here at the halfway point of the season. He's also in the point shuffle at the top of the board right now, Ryan. He's looking to put down a quick one.
That he is. Brian Barnes needs a big rebound after his outing last week at the Lucas Oil Raceway. So far, it looks like he's going to start fifth, but we're going to see a lot of guys come out to take times. Hollyfield on lap number 2 here. Ron Hollyfield in his number 2 machine on lap 2 looks to do better than a 36.55 this time by. Off of turn number 4, looks calm, clean, and collected down the front straightaway. And we'll jump to 7th quick at a 34.40. So right now you only have one guy in the 30.0 bracket, and that's Jackson Bell. As we see drivers, Dennis Fuson completes both his laps. He sits 10th quick. Hollingsworth now on track. A lot of guys now coming. Carl Burke coming back out in May. No, Burke is just getting in some practice, it looks like, as he is slated on lap 3. James Campbell, a driver we haven't talked about very much, is on track currently in his Hooters machine. Couple more times coming in. Ben, tell us who they are.
Bentley Glazer was out on the track there. He just about made a lap, but opted out, resetting the car. Dennis Fuson at the 11th spot with a 30.890 currently. And another lap getting rung in there. Didn't quite see who it was. Did you catch that one, Ryan?
Looks like it was... That's correct. Jeff Hollingsworth, 6th quick so far, 32.93. Your favorite guy, Bob Beltrami, comes in 8th quick on lap number 1. Dustin Burns, 14th quick out of 14 drivers so far. Right now, nobody even getting close to Jackson Bell up top, however. Beltrami working lap number 2 into turns 3 and 4 for the final time here for his qualifying outing, coming out at about 120 miles an hour out of the corner down the front straightaway. Beltrami looks a little quicker this time, but will he be? Doesn't look like it, as Beltrami hit the wall some point during that lap. It did not count for driver 14.
And Bentley Glazer going to come out and set the fast time over Jackson Bell with a 30.060. Like Ryan said earlier on, he was a little bit quicker in practice with the fastest time in the only 29 of the day with a 29.968.
That's right. Sitting right now 1/100th of a second faster than Jackson Bell. So we still got plenty of guys left to take times here. Look at guys like James Campbell, who comes across his second lap. He's still 16th quick at a 31.635. Other guys on the track. Last week's winner, Kyle McCartney, this weekend donning the number 18. Last weekend, remember, he was in the 24 machine. McCartney wasn't too super quick in practice earlier tonight, but he's coming off of turn number 4 to take his time for lap number 1. 30.261 puts him 7th quick so far on the board.
And Jeff Schmeier looks like he might be getting ready to come out on the track here as he's staged up in the pit area. But as of right now, Dustin Burns still out on the track. Kyle McCartney still out on the track. like Ryan said, sitting in the 7th spot after winning last week. And our points leader, Bentley Glazer, still holding on to the pole position here as of this minute. That's going to be really big for him to sustain that. I believe it's a 28-point lead over second right now.
It's something like that or awful close, as Ryan Steele came in with a 31.88. That put him 4th quick. Kyle McCartney still stayed 8th quick as his second lap was a little bit slower at a 30.439. We still have a few people left. That includes Wayne Fleet, Keith Kelman, Mark McFadden, Eric Woods. Jeff Schmeier hasn't taken a time as of yet. Dan Stussy and Kevin Thrift left to go. Lots of cars here tonight at the Milwaukee Mile with about 3 minutes to go for fast time qualifying.
So we heard my takeaways for this race, Ryan. What's going to be your keys to getting to the front here tonight?
Well, the Milwaukee Mile it's unlike any other track. It's really, you take a track like Martinsville and you make it 2 racing grooves wider, and you make it's essentially a paperclip, but a lot wider than those normal paperclip tracks. And we're still going to see guys up against the wall just like we saw last week. Pretty much the same as Lucas Oil was, but like I said, a lot wider. So they're going to have to keep it out of the wall and use their tires. Remember, 4 sets of tires here tonight. You're going to have to know exactly when, how, and where to use those 4 sets of tires to put yourself in a good position towards the end of this thing. 120 laps is a long distance here on this 1 mile racetrack.
And Jeff Schmeier out on the track right now. He's going to come across with his first lap. Oh, I'm sorry. That was his wind-up.
And a swing!
You got me there, but Wayne Fleet's also out here right now too, Ryan.
That's exactly right. What a beautiful paint scheme there for Jeff Schmeier, celebrating St. Paddy's Day that's coming up tomorrow if you live in the United States. Wednesday, March 17th is our St. Paddy's Day. We know executive producer Sam Cooperman has already started his celebrating, so if you see any weird camera angles, blame Sam, no blame me.
I'm sure he's celebrating, having a good time, watching this race. Never a bad time if you are getting to enjoy Western States Racing League Truck Series race on a Tuesday evening.
Definitely not. So far, Schmeier 8th quick. No updates after his second lap. His second lap was, I believe, 4/100 slower than his first lap. So 21 guys qualified so far. We got 30 seconds left of practice, and this sounds like a perfect time to let you all at home know that tonight's broadcast of the Western States Racing League Truck Series at the Milwaukee Mile is brought to you by diecastnuts.com. Post your own collection, add to it or trade in the shop, and see all other members' collections at diecastnuts.com. You can also find them on Facebook at diecastnuts. We are also brought to you by Rocket Racing Setups. Rocket Racing Setups is one of the leading setup builders for the entire iRacing community. Find dirt and asphalt setups, tuning guides, fuel sheets, and much, much more at rocketracingsetups.com today. The Western States Racing League Truck Series is also brought to you by Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking on the worldwide YouTubes. You can look them up today. Be sure to subscribe to them and subscribe to us. We're closing in on that 1,500 follower/subscriber mark, where my good buddy Sam's gonna have to get a tattoo, hopefully on his buttocks. But we're getting right into the race here tonight. We're gonna bring up our starting lineup, and it will go as follows. Leading us off on the pole, setting a time of a 30.060. The number 87 of Bentley Glazer does it again. He'll sit on pole. To his outside, you find the 23 of Jackson Bell. Second row sees Wayne Hutchison alongside the 12 of Ryan Steele. Row number 3 finds the 53 of Carl Burke alongside the 31 of Rob Gall. Row number 4 finds William Fletcher alongside the 30 of Jeff Schmeier. Row number 5 sees Kyle McCartney and Jeff Hollingsworth. Row number 6 finds Brian Barnes alongside the 14 of Bob Beltrami.
Rounding out the tail end of the field from the 13th position, number 25, Ryan Patty. Alongside him, number 2 of Ron Holyfield. Starting in the row behind, number 99, Barry Phil. Outside of him will be the 46 of Earl Weaver. And behind them, the 16 of David Weaver. And the number 11 of Dennis Fuson. In the 19th spot, we're going to see Dustin Burns. In 20th, Wayne Fleet. James Campbell in 21st. Kevin Thrift in 22nd. Mark McFadden going to start off 23rd. Keith Kellman, 24th. Eric Woods, 25th. And rounding out the field in the 78 car, Dan Ducey.
That's right. So 26 cars, 120 laps here from the Milwaukee Mile. We're going to be in for an absolute barn burner of a show from start to finish. And if you guys are familiar with the WSRL Truck Series, you know just what you're in for. So far this season, it was dominated by Bentley Glazer, who I believe at one point won 3 races in a row. Since then, it's been Kyle McCartney, Jeff Hollingsworth, and I believe Brian Barnes getting a win. Beltrami had a win early in the season as well, but at one point, Glazer did win 3 or 4 races in a row. A couple of them I wasn't around for, but I know that they were, in fact, amazing races. Glazer could do it again, find himself once again in the win column. It looks like the lights on the iRacing Pace Truck are out, the official Pace Truck of the iRacing servers. It's going to come around. Do what you're going to do, Pace Truck. There it goes. He goes. The green flag flies, and it's showtime from the Milwaukee Mile.
And Bentley Glazer going to lead him down into turn 1 here, Ryan, as Wayne Hutchison takes a look to the inside of Jackson Bell for the 2nd spot. Relatively smooth sailing, but as you like to say, behind them, 2 by 2 by 2, they're going to follow down into turn 3.
That's exactly right. Jackson Bell and Wade Hutchison doing battle currently for the 2nd position. Hutchison sticks on the inside of Bell down the front straightaway. Bell's going to contain the position at the line, but Hutchison has the door wide open into turn number 1. So far, what's interesting is all these trucks are sticking to the inside of the racetrack. As the track wears, you're going to find some people move up the track and try to use the outside to contain some momentum. Not very much banking here at the Milwaukee Mile, so it's going to make the outside very, very difficult to contend with as we get later on. But how about this battle for 2nd right now, Ben?
Yeah, it's really good. The one that I was just watching in on, kind of fading out now. As you were talking about the bottom being the place to be right now, Rob Gall able to overtake Carl Burke for the 5th spot. Ryan Steele right now running in 4th as Rob Gall's starting to chip into him as he's going to start to find the back bumper of Wayne Hutchison for the 3rd spot. Jackson Bell falling a little bit away from Bentley Glazer now, Ryan. Almost to a 2nd of a lead for Bentley already.
And a guy having a couple of problems right now is William Fletcher. Fletcher's fallen from the 7th to the 10th position in 1 lap. Allowed around him the likes of Jeff Hollingsworth and Jeff Schmeier. Kyle McCartney was there as well, who currently rides in the 7th position. Other than that, we're all single file except for the 30 peeking to the inside, but nothing doing there. These guys trying to work through some laps here as Glazer, like you said, has opened up a 0.8 second advantage over Jackson Bell.
And Kyle McCartney right now having a decent run so far with 5 down. Started in the 9th spot, Ryan. He's up to 7th, and they're really bunched up back there. He's back there with Jeff Hollingsworth rocking that St. Patty's car. He's got Jeff Schmeier back there. He started 8th. He's fallen back a spot. William Fletcher going to round out the top 10 for now.
That's exactly right. And I'm looking further back in the field, see if we got any battles of brewing. Nothing really right now. Glazer still a good ways away from his first lap traffic action as everybody is within a half a lap of Glazer, who still continues to hold that 0.8 second advantage over Bell. Next battle we got brewing is between the 18 of McCartney and the 97 of Hollingsworth. Those, I believe, are teammates, so they should play nicely with each other here in the early stages of this race.
And Ryan Steele not letting Wayne Hutchison get away from him here as they're, Jackson Bell and Bentley are starting to grow a little gap on him here. But I keep watching for Rob Gall. He made his way around, Carl Burke, and he's been working on Ryan's back bumper now for a couple laps. We'll see how the battle between him and Wayne, lets that gap shrink up for him.
We saw a little bit of contact between Ryan Patty and William Fletcher there in turn number 4 coming down the front straightaway. Patty has since backed off and let Fletcher do his thing for a second, but we just previously saw the 97 of Hollingsworth make the pass on McCartney, and now Schmeier is going to look to the inside of McCartney, not going to take any risks just yet. Still early in this race, all these drivers trying to contain it and not let this thing get away from them as we work into lap number 9.
And Bob Beltrami right now, he's back in the 14th spot. He's one of those guys that we're talking about every week. He's in the top of the point standings. As tight as it is up there right now, he's going to have to get some spots going here, get a good finish to maintain that high standings spot.
Beltrami, a guy that we talk about primarily because he is the promoter of this WSRL Truck Series. Beltrami does an absolutely amazing job, and we, of course, appreciate him giving us a job every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. And like I said, if this is your first time seeing ESPN or the Western States Truck Series, go ahead and drop a subscribe down below. Go like their pages on Facebook at WSRL, like us on Facebook. We appreciate everybody for tuning in so far. As there you see Beltrami making a pass on Holyfield for the 13th position.
And Bentley Glazer at a 1.4 second advantage over Jackson Bell now, Ryan. And none of these guys really seem to have anything for him. But at this point, there's a lot of braking going down into turns 1 and 2 and really 3 and 4. That's going to really start to wear on your tires over time. So if you can just back off a little bit, and Bentley's going to be fast as it is anyway, maybe you preserve a little tire as we get to that, when we get ready to look to those green flag stops, he's going to be in a better spot.
That's exactly right. So far, it may look like it's a one-dog race, but I can assure you that you cannot count out anybody from this event just yet, especially Jackson Bell, who has had so many great runs but has not been able to find victory lane so far this year. It feels like Bell's been one of those guys who he's consistently a front runner, but he runs into trouble late in races, and tonight he's going to look to break that streak as he currently rides second on the field, with Wayne Hutchison now beginning to breathe down his neck.
That's absolutely right. That's exactly what I was watching right there, Ryan. He got a little bit loose and opened the door for Wayne to close that gap up. And, really, this has been the tightest. I mean, there's a lot of, bumper-to-bumper cars right now, but this is some of the tightest battle on the track between Ryan, Wayne, Rob Gow. Jeff Hollingsworth starting to make his way up now. He started in the 10th spot. He's up to 6th.
That's exactly right. And as soon as you say that, the door opens for Hutchison. He takes the advantage to the inside, clears the pass, and here comes Ryan Steele as well. So they're going to put Bell all the way back to the 4th position. It might be 5th by the time that Rob Gall gets done with him. Gall going to stick to the inside. Bell trying to hold down the outside, but it's just Gall with all that inside momentum taking the spot. And here comes the 97 as well. Won't allow the 23 to get down. So an accordion effect for the 12 currently, for the 23 currently. Not looking good for that driver right now.
And your next closest to them is Carl Burke. He is really starting to close in on Oh, I'm sorry there. Wow. Closing in on him really fast. And Jeff Schmeier, he's coming with Carl right now. And last week's winner, Kyle McCartney in the 9th spot. William Fletcher going to round out the top 10 as well. Brian Barnes, who's another one of those front runners, back in the 11th spot, is Bob Beltrami, who I was just talking about, has made his way up to 12th already, Ryan.
That's exactly right, but we see your lead for Bentley Glazer currently sits at 3.283 seconds. That is a long way here at the Milwaukee Mile between your first and your second place runner. And even if you look at it, Glazer is now halfway down the back straightaway, and your second place man, Hutchison, just now coming out of the turns as he was doing so. Man, Bentley Glazer putting on an absolute clinic here so far.
And Ryan Steele taking a look to the inside of Wayne Hutchinson for the second spot. He's going to get a really nice run off the bottom, coming to the flag stand to get the job done there for the second spot. Rob Gall now getting passed by Jeff Hollingsworth for the 4th spot. And Jackson Bell, Ryan, he's still headed backwards.
Another driver who's heading in the wrong direction so far tonight is Ryan Patty. He had been in the 13th spot from the start, hadn't really moved, just fell back to the 14th position. Needs to make a couple of adjustments on that Kellogg's number 30 to try to get him back into this race, because so far Patty just doesn't look like he's got what it takes to get back up there and contend for another close finish. I remember last week he was one that led most of the race, had some unfortunate events towards the end, but tonight not his night for driver number 30.
With 19 laps down as we come around to make it 20, Bentley's going to head down into turn 1. He's got a 4.3 second advantage over the second place sitter Ryan Steele in that 12 car currently. And Jeff Hollingsworth taking a look to the outside of Wayne Hutchison for that 3rd spot right now, Ryan.
Hutchison will gladly give him the outside. Hutchison does not want the outside so far in this race. He'll open it up for Jeff, say, hey, if you want it, you can try it, but it's not going to work. Speaking of Hollingsworth, so far, 20 laps make it 21 into this race. Hollingsworth is currently your biggest mover, going from 10th to 4th. That's a makeup of 6 spots. Kyle McCartney just made a pass a lap and a half ago on Carl Burke, taking the 8th position. Burke falling from the 5th to the 9th position so far. But man, Bentley Glazer still out front at 4.5 seconds in front of second place, getting closer and closer to the 19 of James Campbell. So we may have some cars going a lap down here very, very soon.
And, I was thinking about this in my keys to this race. I think, the pits getting in at Lucas Oil Raceway are tricky. They're tricky here as well, Ryan. And with a lot of green flag running right now, thinking about taking those green flag stops, you got to be really careful not to miss that exit or get in there too fast and spend too much extra time or have to make a pass through.
Not sure if we had cameras on it, but your leader in the 87 Glazer just went to put James Campbell a lap down. Campbell did not move out of the way. There was a slight bit of incidental contact between Campbell and Glazer. Luckily, nothing that has affected Glazer so far, but Campbell is now a lap down in his Hooters machine, and he's going to have to do a lot of bouncing back to get back on the lead lap, as he now joins Dan Stussy as the only car's laps down. Stussy 12 laps down. He was an early dismissal from this race. We stay looking at any battles on the racetrack. We got one between the 85 and the 04. That's for, I believe, the 21st position. The 04 of Dustin Burns gives way to the 85 of Eric Woods. Just behind them, my main man in the 48 machine, that's Mark McFadden, 72 years old, out of the Great White North up in Canada. One of my favorite guys to see in an iRacing lobby time in, time out. But unfortunately for him, Looking in Mark's rearview mirror, he sees a mirror full of that 87 of Glazer coming up behind him, as well as the 6 of Wayne Fleet.
And a battle for the 5th spot coming on here. That's Jackson Bell continuing to have a decent run. He's moving backwards at the beginning, but able to hold on to a top 5 so far, with Jeff Schmeier starting to take a look to his bumper here, Ryan, and he's bringing Wayne Hutchison with him as well, with Kyle McCartney. Kyle actually just got around Wayne, and he's on the move now. After winning last week, he's going to want to make his way towards the front.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw it, but on the last lap, Bell did hit the wall, allowed the inside to the 30, thought about blocking, but changed his mind as they went into turn number 1. And now he peeks back to the inside of the 30 of Schmeier. He's going to have inside advantage going into turn number 1. Schmeier may try to pinch him down, but Schmeier does stay high, allowing the 23 back around. Maybe not. Schmeier's got to run out of the corner, but it's Bell just a little tiny bit better as we go down the back straightaway. What a shot. What a battle here for the 5th position.
Kyle McCartney also looking to take advantage of Jackson pushing Jeff Schmeier up the track here. He's going to do just that, but Schmeier not going to give it up easy as he's got a good run down the front stretch. Carl Burke started in the 5th spot. He's back to 9th, so not going the way that he wants to. But Brian Barnes, he's right on his bumper. Not really a whole lot of moving back here in the middle of the pack, except for Jeff Hollingsworth making his way from 10th all the way to 3rd as he's starting to work on Ryan Steele.
That's exactly what I was just about to look at. Hollingsworth slightly faster than Steele for the past couple of laps. Hollingsworth also one of the fastest guys on the track besides Bentley Glazer, who's just lightning quick out in front of everybody else. Has a 4.9 second advantage over Steele. Let's be honest, unless something happens, nobody's catching Glazer for the time being. But the battle right now is for 2nd position. Hollingsworth has a run down the front straightaway. Peeks to the inside, but doesn't make anything of it just yet. He's mighty fine with just staying in line, working some laps off as the track here at the Milwaukee Wild begins to take a lot of rubber.
And a big shuffle just outside of the inside of the top 10, starting with Kyle McCartney back there in the 7th spot. You know, I was just talking about these guys, Kyle, Wayne, Brian Barnes, starting to take a look on him now as he was able to take advantage of Carl Burke and get around him. Bob Beltrami, who we were talking about earlier, starting to look at over a lap car here.
Well, as you were saying that, Hollingsworth made the pass on the inside of Steele, and now Hollingsworth is gone from Steele. He's walking away, but he's got lap traffic right in front of him, being McFadden and the 6 of Fleet. He's going to stick to the inside. McFadden's going to stay high using his knowledge of racing years prior. McFadden knows what he's got to do here in that 50th anniversary Hot Wheels. Looks like a Ford F-150 for McFadden, so a solid choice for him. But here comes the 12. We got a battle brewing for 2nd. Once again, Steele jumps to the outside, almost makes contact with McFadden, but Steele going to stick to the outside. They're going to split the 6 of Fleet down the middle. Ooh, through the grass. 97 makes the pass on the lap car of Fleet, and he's going to pull away once again. That could have been catastrophic for your 2nd place runner, Jeff Hollingsworth, but he makes it work and pulls away from the 12 of Steele.
And that was all a result of Wayne Fleet. He's a lap down. He put a big block on Hollingsworth going down the backstretch. As you know, he went to go take a look on the inside, and he threw a huge block on him there. Well,
to Fleet's credit, he really had no choices. He had 97 of Hollingsworth to his outside, and to the outside of him was that 12, and then you had McFadden right there. It was a gaggle of cars, and none of them had anywhere to go, but somehow Hollingsworth made it work. We take a look at Bentley Glazer all the way back out front. He's working through lap traffic currently. We work into lap number 34. And my mind is telling me that we have got to be inching closer and closer towards green flag pit stops here, as we've run 34 straight green flag laps from the beautiful sunny West Allis, Wisconsin.
And it has been quite the race so far. You know, we got a big mover here, Jeff Hollingsworth, up into that second spot now. We've been talking about him. Brian Steele, obviously, Bentley's been pretty much leading every lap, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff Schmeier from 8th to 5th right now. Brian Barnes started 11th up to 9th. And Carl Burke not having the day that he really wants to have right now. Gridded in at the 5th spot. He's currently sitting 10th.
That's right, but still out in front. It looks like Bentley Glazer has on one of those amazing rocket racing setups that you can find at rocketracingsetups.com, and he has pulled away 7.1 seconds the advantage to Hollingsworth, who has already pulled a second over Steele. So it's the Glazer and Hollingsworth show once again here in the Western States Truck Series, as he is all out by his lonesome, putting now the 11 of Dennis Fuson a lap down. So the good thing for Fuson there, if we were to have a caution here momentarily, he would get that lap back. But the bad thing is, we probably won't, and Eric Woods and Keith Kelman are up next for that 87 to put a lap down.
And they're shuffling it up back here in the 7th spot again, Ryan, just about every other lap. You know, they kind of single file out and then get all stacked up and they all take a look, but nobody seeming to be able to get something done back there right now.
Short track pack racing at its finest. We got our leader out by his lonesome, then a pack of 2 cars behind your, I believe, 3rd place sitter, Ryan Steele. Then you got Gall, Schmeier, McCartney, Bell, all in a gaggle by themselves. That's what we call short track pack racing. You got your leaders, and then you got everybody else, and then a gap, and then everybody else once again. So we're seeing who our dominant guys are so far. And again, that's Glazer and Hollingsworth. Steele just doesn't quite have it yet. Maybe he's already used up his tires for this go round. Like I said, those green flag pit stops are inching their way closer and closer. And now it's just time to find out who's going to be the first one to take it.
And right now, it really just seems like it's a game of, you know, who's going to make the first mistake. And right now, everybody's running a really clean race, and we're just not having those little mistakes opening the doors up for people right now.
Long way to go. Long way to go. As we're now, I believe, a quarter of the way through this race. As we're on lap 40, you take 40, you multiply it by 3, I believe you get 120. So we are we're a third away. Dang, I let you guys know I was not a good math student in high school, I promise. But we're a third of the way through this race. Bentley Glazer on the way up front by his lonesome, and his gap is being shrunken by Jeff Hollingsworth. He was good in English, and I was terrible at math. How about you, Ben?
I was the same way. I was just about to say, you don't have to bear this cross by yourself, man. I would have done the same thing. I'll tell you what, I could write a paper. I could not finish a math test. You should have seen my ACT math score. It was pitiful.
I was amazing in everything, English, grammar, whatever you want to call it. I was great at it. But when it came to math and some sciences, that wasn't my gig. And you can obviously tell why, as I'm sitting here on an ESPN broadcast using my English, grammar, and vocabulary skills instead of sitting in some office crunching numbers all day. So, I mean, it did kind of work out in the end for me.
No need for a geometry or a chemistry when all you need is a loud pedal and a steering wheel. How about that?
That's exactly right. Sometimes you just need a loud mouth and decent wording, I suppose. But back to the action on the track. Glazer, 6.3 second advantage. Last time I said that, it was higher than that. So Hollingsworth is inching closer and closer to Glazer. This one could get good before it gets done, ladies and gentlemen.
You're absolutely right here, Ryan. I mean, as we see these green flag stops come into play, it's really going to shake some things up and get the field really jumbled around. You know, it looks like when that happens, we're gonna have some action here.
That we will. Currently, 17 cars are on the lead lap of this race. The last of those being David Weaver in the 16th. Remember, David Weaver and Earl Weaver, I believe they are related, run similarly together, but David has usually been the guy that's just come out on the bottom end of those two. Earl is currently 2 positions ahead of him on the track, about to pass the 48 of McFadden. Now, I talk about him a lot, but the Mark McFadden driver that if you haven't seen before races in the Rowdy Energy Cup series that we broadcast, the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway series, raced the majors that I broadcasted a couple months ago at Daytona, along with Mr. Frank Marchese. That Mark has been all over the place for so many years. You guys should love him. I know we all here at ESBN love him, and a couple other drivers we're getting to know and love include your leader, Mr. Bentley Glazer. Very well-spoken man every time he wins a race. And who knows, he could be well on his way to another winner interview here tonight.
And right now, the battle to watch between Rob Gall and Kyle McCartney, they've been trading some sliders back and forth. If you have a lot of background in dirt, you're very well educated in what the slider is. And let me just say real quick, if you're a NASCAR fan, everything that they're doing with NASCAR right now, you definitely know what a slider is. But they just keep going at it. They are bare knuckle boxing as McCartney takes back away the spot from Rob Gall going down the front stretch to round out the top 5 right now.
Another thing that's interesting to me currently, you look at Wayne Hutchison, you look at Jackson Bell, you look at even Rob Gall, Carl Burke, they're all starting to fall pretty far back in track position here. Jackson Bell started second, was up there for a good majority of the first half of this race. He is now back to the 11th position. Hutchison started third, and he is now in 9th. So a lot of guys having some tough luck here at the mile so far. We are now 47 laps in. Make it 48 last time by at the line of a grand total of 120 laps here tonight.
And if you're just joining us now, it's been a great race as Brian Barnes was able to take advantage of that battle between McCartney and Gall, moving him past Rob Gall into the 6th spot for now.
If you look at our leader, Glazer, right now, he has now started to take it easy on the truck. You see there, he's letting the 30 of Patty back by. Patty, I believe, was on pit road not too long ago, as Ryan Patty's currently 2 laps down. So yes, Ryan Patty did pit previously, so he's currently the fastest truck on the track. But like I said, Glazer's starting to take it easy. He may be working very quickly towards some green flag pit stops, as well as Hollingsworth in the 97, who has now got that disadvantage to Glazer to under 6 seconds.
And these guys are probably, trying to stretch her out as much as they can right now. Try to, get as many cars down a lap as you possibly can right now. That's going to help you out. Obviously, one of them is going to sit in that lucky dog spot as of right now. That's going to be Barry Phil if we get a caution. But, if Bentley and Jeff can continue to crank out laps here and they're not giving up too much time, that's really going to benefit them.
Last, Hutchison is in the pits. The man who started third fell back to 13th. McFadden's into the pits. So we take a look at Hutchison getting some work down on that number 17 Toyota truck. God, I love the paint scheme on that thing. The base paint scheme for the Toyota trucks in the game. Taking an awful long time on pit road here. There he's down and away. So the man who was riding 13th now out of the pits. So your first couple of takers started there on about lap 45. Now we're on lap 52 of 160, and you're starting to see a lot of guys trickle down into the pit lanes.
Bentley and Jeff still staying out on the track. Ryan Steele still has opted not to pit. Jeff Schmeier still running. McCartney going to sit in the 5th spot for now, still having not pitted. Brian Barnes in 6th. Rob Gall, in 7th. Carl Burke in 8th. Bob Beltrami up to 9th now, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those times, one of those very few races you see on the servers where you can just kind of kick your feet back, relax, and enjoy some good old-fashioned short track racing. As right now, not too much going on. I'm sure we'll see some action here momentarily, but it's all Glazer out front. He is dominating so far here tonight.
And it's always nice to get, nice, good, long green runs in. Obviously, last week we were kind of plagued by caution a little bit early on, and that really kind of affects things. When I talked to Jeff Hollingsworth last week, I felt like that was one of the biggest questions that I wanted to ask him with all those cautions, how that affected, kind of what his plan was going to be for the day and how he was able to still get up to the front.
Yes, and so far we're having the complete opposite of that. Last guy to come down pit road was, in fact, Jackson Bell in the number 23. And I'm going to go on a whim here and guess that before he pitted, he had run the tires absolutely off of that number 23 machine. I believe the 04 of Dustin Burns is making his way into the pits now. Burns riding in the 19th position. Either that or he's staying low. Schmeier as well into the pits. He's making his way down to his pit stall. So Schmeier, another driver that was up in the top 10, who is now in for 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel to get that Chevy Silverado back out onto the racing surface.
And for Schmeier right now, where he's sitting out in the points, he had to have been really thinking about how he wanted to go about doing this. Obviously, passing right now as we've had a long green run, few and far between as the field gets more and more stretched out. Pit strategy for a lot of these guys in the point standings is huge right now. As we
Next person we
have 12 cars left on the lead lap. As I say that, we're down to 11, Ryan.
That'll all change whenever your leaders, Glazer and Hollingsworth, decide they finally want to pit. But the next person down was Barry Phil. Phil in for 4 tires and Sunoco Racing fuel. So we take a look back at your leader. Glazer has now opened that advantage back out to 8.026 seconds over Hollingsworth. Glazer running her for all she has got. He's about to go halfway through this 120-lap race without taking a pit stop, as we're on lap 59 out of 120.
And right here's a perfect example of the tire fall off for you guys. Jeff Schmeier right now just absolutely going to work on Hollingsworth, as you would expect, but you got to figure that these two front runners have got to be coming soon, because at this point they're probably starting to lose time on these guys. As I say, that Bentley Glazer's going to head to pit road.
Glazer gets her nice and slowed down to pit road speed, which is 45 miles per hour here at the Milwaukee Mile, as he is in the 16 of Weaver is coming out. So Glazer has that number 1 pit stall with the number 87 truck, and so far that has equaled a race lead. But I believe Hollingsworth will attain the lead for now as he's coming around turn number 4. And unless he decides to pit here, which he does, as Hollingsworth hits the pit lane, slows her all the way down to 45 miles per hour. He's in as well, so it's gonna give the race lead to Ryan Steele that time by the next driver, who we'll probably see come down pit road.
And Kyle McCartney right now sitting in the 2nd spot. I didn't catch, did he come down early, Ryan, or is he still on those old tires?
McCartney should be still on some older tires. Ron Holyfield was another driver we just saw come out of the pit road. We'll keep an eye on McCartney. I believe that he's been out this entire race, but he still looks decently fast, battling there with the 6 machine of Wayne Fleet. So McCartney currently 2nd, Steele 1st Brian Barnes third, Hollingsworth and Glazer round out your top 5. So for all that time on pit road, nothing lost for both your leaders, Glazer and Hollingsworth.
And they did a really good job there of, managing that, as they really didn't lose too much. Right now, the field being really spread out. They're 14 seconds back of Brian Barnes sitting in the 3rd spot as Earl Weaver's able to make his way around Jeff Schmeier. And Jeff Hollingsworth losing a couple more spots now as he's on those fresh tires. He's got to get some heat in those before he's going to be able to run some really fast laps again.
We are now down to, I believe, 9 cars on the lead lap. Another car coming in. Looks like it was the 85 of Eric Woods. Barry Phil came last time by. Woods this time by. I believe the 07 was coming back down as well. That was Kelman recently. But right now, eyes on Steele and McCartney. They both have to pit here very soon, as we're currently on lap 64 of 120. We are over halfway done here from the Milwaukee Mile, and so far we have been clean and green the entire way.
Smooth sailing as we get through these green flag stops, and as I say that, the caution is out.
Looks like it's Mark McFadden, I believe. McFadden taking a do-si-do out of turn number 2. Possibly by himself. The replay's not wanting to give me much here, but I do know that it is Mark McFadden that was the culprit of the yellow flag.
Yeah, like you said, I took a look at it there. Kind of cuts out and you catch him down there in the grass. That's really all I could catch.
Looks like a little bit of work needs to be done to the iRacing servers, but that does a lot for Ryan Steele and Kyle McCartney. Going to keep them at least within the top 10, depending on who else pits with them. And right here, I think we see Steele, McCartney, Barnes come down. And that could be it, as the rest of the field has made their way down pit road. Here in these opening 63 laps, McFadden on the pit road getting some work to his number 48 truck, as the rest of the field tries to catch up with the iRacing Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of the iRacing servers. Oh man, word coming from race director that McFadden blew the engine in that number 48 truck, so tough break for Mr. Mark McFadden. Like I said, it was Steele, McCartney, and Barnes coming down pit road that time, as well as Schmeier. The 30 truck's there as well, maybe just topping her off. Nope, hits right side tires, might hit left sides as well, but we've seen so far, we've run 63, 64 laps on one set of tires so far. So he might have 1 or 2 to play with here, as most of the field stays out, but these guys taking advantage of only 12 people being on the lead lap here for this restart, taking some tires, maybe getting a leg up on the competition.
And I think what you see there out of Schmeier is possibly that, these guys that are coming right now in the grand scheme of things are somewhere around 10 lap fresher tires. And when we get down into this long run, if we get if we go green from here on out on 10 lap fresher tires, that's going to make a huge difference. Huge difference. Somebody coming down pit road right now. I didn't quite catch who that was.
It's the Hooters machine of, I believe, Dan Stussy. No, not Dan Stussy. It's the 17 of Wayne Hutchison. No, it's not. It's James Campbell. I'm so used to Hooters machines being number 17s or number 7. James Campbell in the 19 is who's down pit road. My bad. Taking, I believe, 4 fresh tires and some gas, and he's down and away as we work towards the one to go from the flagman here. Barry Phil was also on pit road and now off, and that gives the race lead right back to the number 87 of Bentley Glazer.
Now we see the 4, the 04, I apologize, of Dustin Burns coming down pit road. Probably thinking a little bit of fuel. 2 tires, 4 tires, we'll see what he goes with here. He's 2 laps down right now. He's got some ground to make up.
That's exactly right. It looked like the 53 of Carl Burke was given a wave around last time by. I don't see any lights flashing on the iRacing pace truck, which inclines me to say that we are one to go to green out of turn number 4. Glazer, Bell, Hollingsworth, McCartney, Barnes, your top 5. Good showing for Barnes so far in that number 4 machine, with Jeff Schmeier still right there taking 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles last time down the pit road. The iRacing pace truck peels off of turn number 4 into the pit road. The green flag flies. Glazer hits the loud pedal. The 23 does not. Glazer has a clean jump on everybody else.
And Hollingsworth gave him a big push there on the start that's going to push him out front, as we see Brian Barnes taking a look to the inside of Jackson Bell now, followed by Kyle McCartney. He's got Jeff Schmeier on the outside, Ryan Steele in that 12 car, Wayne Hutchison sitting back there in 8th right now. And the battle to watch right now is Jeff Schmeier on the outside of Ryan Steele, trying to see if he can make something work on the outside. And it looks like he's doing just that. And Jackson Bell pulling outside of Brian Barnes right now, Ryan.
Barnes made the pass on the inside for 3rd. Bell stuck on the outside is going to allow the 18 of McCartney up underneath, battling for the 4th position on the racetrack. But like I said, right back out front is those 2 guys that it's been all day long. It's Glazer and Hollingsworth right now leading the way here. Barnes a solid run currently. McCartney a solid run currently. Jackson Bell going in reverse once again, however.
And Bentley Glazer wasting no time to pick up where he left off. He's already got it stretched out to 0.8 of a second here over Jeff Hollingsworth.
And as you say that, we had a pass for 2nd. It's Brian Barnes attaining the 2nd position from Hollingsworth last time by. And Barnes is stretching it out, currently catching Glazer. Hollingsworth having some trouble now as McCartney's got a run on him down the back straightaway. McCartney going to peek to the inside, going to stick in line into turn number 3, allow Hollingsworth to regain some composure. But right now, Brian Barnes is hard charging towards the front.
And Bob Beltrami now making his way inside the top 10 after that last caution, and the green flag stops. Again, having started 12th, making his way up to 8th, and he's going to work on Jeff Schmeier right now, Ryan.
That he is. Beltrami and Schmeier in a battle for the 7th position. It's still single file at the front. Glazer and Barnes. Barnes not quite making up any room on Glazer, but he's keeping him within striking distance as we work into lap number 75 of 120. 0.833 second advantage, and there goes a pass for 3rd. The 18, last week's winner, Kyle McCartney, gets around the 97 of Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth looks to do a little crossover move into turn number 3. He's going to stick to the inside. He's going to give way to the 18 of McCartney. We could have seen a nice crossover there, but Hollingsworth thinking better of it here with many laps remaining from the Milwaukee Mile.
And as they dice it up, Ryan Steele, I always talk about this bowl battle, 2 guys battling. That really slows people down.
Yellow flag. Let's take a look and see if we can find out exactly what happened there. Not exactly sure so far as I'm taking a scan through the field. But once again, the iRacing pace truck is making his way out. Looked like it may have had something to do with the 85 of Woods. Oh, it was the 25 of Ryan Patty See if we can see what happened to Patty here. He got together with the 04 and the 30 of Patty, taking a do-si-do there. Spinning out into the outside guardrail. So a tough break for a man who was a hard charger last week. Ryan Patty may be forced to use a quick repair here as he's taking that number 30 Cheez-Its Kellogg's machine towards the pit road.
We'll see. You know, I wouldn't. Oh, and a lot of takers here.
Big
Bentley
takers here.
Gonna go, but yeah, he had to have been watching the mirror there. All right.
How about the first one to stay out? Jeff Hollingsworth, followed by the 17 of Hutchison. They all stay out. So Hollingsworth and Hutchison should lead us back to the green next time by. But it's Glazer and company on pit road. Glazer should be the first one away. He's the first one on to the right side. Tires to change them. And there he goes. Glazer is down and away with the 18 in tow, followed by the 4 machine, as well as the 12 of Steel. So Glazer down and away. First one off of pit road. He's going to, I believe, assume about the 4th or 5th starting spot on the restart, depending on who else takes tires and or fuel here during this pit stop.
Jackson Bell joined him there as well, Ryan. You know, so far here tonight, he's been able to find his way to keep that truck clean. You know, nothing against him. He just hasn't had the luck. And you know, with 4 fresh tires here, well, maybe not 4 because you only have 4 sets to play with, but there's more coming here, Ryan.
Something big that may have just happened. It looks like it officially did. If I can get confirmation on this, I believe Bentley Glazer too fast exiting possibly. Because it looks like he may have an EOL penalty. Never mind. Now they're waving him back around to everybody. Ooh, Bentley Glazer scared me there for a second. He fell back behind everybody. Now being told by Race Command to go back around. So Glazer might be in hot water, might not be in hot water.
You know, that's big for Bentley. You know, I talked about it. You know, getting in and out of there efficiently going to be huge today. As we see it come into play here with our points leader, Bentley Glazer.
And he is at the tail end of the longest line currently. Should probably stay there. William Fletcher talking back and forth with Glazer, talking about who is the most unlucky dog. Glazer's got to be at the tail end of the line, but Fletcher and a couple others will be behind him. So tough break for Glazer there. We're on lap 80. Only 40 laps remaining here. Glazer's going to have a lot of work if he wants to get back to everybody else.
And if I'm not mistaken, the lights on the pace truck are out, Ryan. As I always like to tell you, let's get us going like you do the best, man.
It's almost showtime once again here from the Milwaukee Mile. It's the 17 and the 30 up front. That's Hutchison and Schmeier with Beltrami, Weaver, and McCartney rounding out your top 5. The iRacing Silverado pace truck dips off out of turn number 4, and as soon as he does, the green flag is going to be waved, and we're boogity, and once again, green flag back in the air. Hutchison on the loud pedal.
Jeff Schmeier following in behind him into turn 2 as Kyle McCartney makes no mistakes, taking over the inside line from Bob Beltrami to drop him back into the 4th spot.
Huge move out of the 18 of McCartney there. Beltrami peeks back to the inside. They touch. McCartney saves it. What a save by the driver in the 18. Beltrami made a little contact. It was incidental at best. We've got 3 wide back for about the 10th position on the racetrack. Look at that. Bentley Glazer started at the tail end of the longest line. He's up to 12th position on the racetrack, still fighting through those lap cars, but that 87 is coming once again.
And we have a new leader here on lap 82. Jeff Schmeier going to bring us to the 83rd lap of 120, followed by Wayne Hutchinson, and he has got a swarm of guys behind him battling it out here. That's going to be Jackson Bell, Bob Beltrami, Kyle McCartney going to take advantage of Jackson Bell here, right to the tailgate of Beltrami. As you can see, he got a little bit of damage there on the tailgate.
That's exactly right. The biggest thing we're going to watch for the remainder of this race is whether Glazer can make up all of that ground or not. New second place man out of turn number 4. It's the 12 of Steele. Steele gets around the 17 of Hutchison. Now opens the door for the 18 of McCartney once again. McCartney takes the inside advantage into turns number 1. Jackson Bell follows him right up. Bell going to stick to the inside. They've got that 17 on the outside. The ugly duckling, as we like to call it. He's getting passed up by everybody as we head down the back straightaway here at this beautiful mile-long facility. But like you said, your leader is now Jeff Schmeier, who's been so close so many times. He's got a 0.4 second advantage over Steele. And we look back, Glazer is now back up to the 11th position, fighting around the same area as Hollingsworth.
And Brian Barnes and Carl Berg taking a look to the inside of Wayne Hutchison as he started way up front after our most recent start, and he is not going the direction that he wants to. Carl Berg earlier not having the best run. Right now he's putting it together. Big contact as Wayne Hutchison heads out towards the wall there, Ryan.
As you say, that battle for the lead, Schmeier and Steele. Schmeier stuck on the outside. Steele makes the pass. New leader, Ryan Steele. Steele opens the door for Kyle McCartney to take second. He'll come up in front of the 30 out of turn number 2. Take the position, so your new leader is Steele. Your second place man is McCartney. Schmeier's back to third. Here comes Jackson Bell on the inside, riding the apron around turn number 4. Down the front straightaway, peaks to the inside. Has a nice run on the 30. And that just shows you how quickly you can go from leading to 4th.
And Brian Barnes and Jeff Hollingsworth are absolutely on the move, Ryan. They are cutting through the field. I guess Carl Berg, too. I was just talking about him as they're starting to close in on Jackson and Jeff as Jackson takes away that spot from Jeff to round out the top 5. Carl Berg sitting in that 5th spot.
And you look behind him, behind those guys as well. Glazer is a man on a mission so far. Fastest truck on the track currently as he pulls up to the backside. Whoa, touch between the 87 and the 4. Sends the 4 of Barnes high up the track. Or the 97 and the 4, excuse me. Hollingsworth and Barnes as they're now clogging the lane. Glazer cannot get by. Hollingsworth pulls up in front of the 4. Glazer sticks to the inside. That's a battle for the 6th, 7th, and 8th positions on the track. More contact between the 4 and the 97 as they're coming out of turn number 2. These guys fighting tooth and nail for that spot. Still out front, it's all Steele. Glazer still back behind the 4 of Barnes. We're focusing on him so much because Glazer dominated the first half of this race. He was sent to the back end with an EOL penalty for speeding on pit road. Has currently made up, I believe, 5 positions on the track and passed a bunch of cars, including most of the lap down guys. Glazer back up to 8th and currently is just riding around behind the 4 of Barnes. We turn our attentions back up to the front where Ben has an update for us.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Ryan Steele not really able to grow too much of a gap over Kyle here. Kyle definitely doesn't want to let him get out of his sight, see if he can go back-to-back with the Western States Racing League Truck Series.
Dude, of always, Kyle McCartney would absolutely love that of anybody out there. McCartney, a number switch between last week and this week from 24 to 18. But so far, he's making the number 18 proud in a second place run. The 23 of Bell's right there as well, who has been rather inconsistent than consistent tonight. as he was up front early, fell back towards the mid half of this race, and so far as we work lap 92, is back up to the 3rd position. We look further back, the 87 of Glazer has made his way around the 4 of Barnes, as well as the 31 of Gall, who made his way around the 4 of Barnes as well. Oh man, 97 all the way to the inside of the racetrack against the 53 of Burke. So it's Hollingsworth getting around Burke here for the 6th position.
And you can see now, as we're getting a little bit deeper in the race with just a little bit less than 30 laps to go here, guys getting, anxious to have that track position so that if we do run into some cautions or anything like that, they're going to be in a good spot here to give it a good run down at the end of the race.
That's exactly right. You see there the 97 looking to the inside of the 30 of Schmeier, going to take the 53 along with him. Glazer's going to try to peek his nose in there as well. Bentley, a man on a mission here. We got 2 lines forming, outside, inside. Glazer to the inside, wants to push it 3 wide into the turn. He's going to do it. Glazer sticks to his guns on the inside. Burke pushes up the track, allowing smooth sailing for driver 87 right on by as he pulls back into the top 5, I believe. Make it the top 5. That's exactly right. As your top 5 looks like Steele, McCartney, Bell, Hollingsworth, Glazer, with Burke and Gall on the outside looking in. Jeff Schmeier, who was one of those guys who stayed out last time we were under caution, is now back to the 8th position, with Barnes making some more moves.
Yeah, you can see it right there. I talked about those 10-lap fresher tires, and I don't think that we're quite to the point where you're going to see the biggest effect of those, but right there was a really key example of it. As you can see, Schmeier just didn't really have the speed, kind of let those guys make their way under him as he knew he was slower than they were.
That's exactly right. You see, there's a battle brewing for the 2nd position between McCartney and Jackson Bell. We take a look at the 18 of McCartney, running decent lap times, 0.8 seconds off of your leader, Ryan Steele, but he's got Jackson Bell peeking. Anytime. There goes Bell. Will he make it stick? No contact. Good driving by Bell to avoid any contact with the 18 as he sticks to the inside and has that run off of turn number 2. But it's McCartney just about clearing him. Bell sticks to the inside. These passes here at the Milwaukee Mile, you have to make it count in one corner, because if you get to the next, you're not going to be able to make the job done.
And Bentley Glazer now starting to put a run together on Jeff Hollingsworth. As they come across the line, that's going to be just under 5/6 tenths of a second now. And Jackson Bell now in the 3rd spot, not able to quite clear on Kyle. As you can see, Ryan able to grow the lead from those 2 battling a lap ago.
That's exactly right. Ryan Steele, a driver who had a good run last week out, excellent run here tonight, has taken advantage of the unfortunate decision on Bentley Glazer's part, and he is currently your leader at about a 2nd advantage over your other top 2 competitors. And right now it looks like the 97 of Hollingsworth has pretty much stalled the run of the 87 of Glazer, as we're working lap number 99 here, coming into the big 100. That will give us 21 laps to go here, as that is about your only battle on the racetrack, unless we look back to the 31 of Gall, who just got passed by the 53 of Burke.
And Bob Beltrami had made his way up with a good run, now sitting inside of the top 10, holding on to the 10th position. Jeff Schmeier now back in 9th. As you said earlier, Ryan, staying out on that last caution when there were some guys that took tires.
Beltrami's a guy. Beltrami currently sits in the 2nd position in the point standings, 26 points back behind Glazer. He's a guy who's made his year so far out of top 5 finishes, 7 on the year. That was a worrisome "oh" in my ear from the executive producer, Sam Cooper Bennett, as we're going to try and find some action. Beltrami did hit the wall, as I was just informed, as you guys saw there. 23 finally makes the pass on 18. So we have a new second place man. That's Jackson Bell in the 23. That Sinclair dinosaur looking machine. He pushes high in turn number 1, opens the door back up, but closes it right back down. Lap 102 here from the Milwaukee Mile.
And like you mentioned earlier, you know, Bentley just not able to get around Jeff right now. About a lap ago, they got around a lap car that really kind of made things interesting for a minute, but ultimately Hollingsworth able to hold on for that 4th spot, Ryan.
That is exactly right. You still see your leader, Ryan Steele, have about a second's advantage over Bell and McCartney. Glazer fighting tooth and nail with the 97 to try and catch up with him. They're running about even lap times to one another. Glazer, no damage on the truck, so not exactly sure what's holding him up, as so far most of the night he seemed like the guy to beat, running well faster than everybody else. Bob Beltrami making his way around that lap car number 19 of James Campbell there, putting him even further back. Campbell having a tough run here from the Milwaukee Mile. Brian Barnes still back in the 8th position. So far so good. Everybody sort of kind of single filed out here as we work towards the later segments of this race.
And the battle for the last 3 or 4 laps was there between Jackson Bell and last week's winner Kyle McCartney in the 18 car. Jackson now able to get clear of Kyle and starting to work on Ryan Steele. As Ryan was starting to grow towards a second lead, it was at 0.9, now it's at 0.830. We'll see if he can hack into it here on lap 105.
Even bigger developments out of the 87 of a Glazer. He's made his way around the 97 of Hollingsworth, and he is starting to inch closer to the 18 of McCartney. So Glazer will play a factor in these last 15 laps of this race, as he's a little bit faster than McCartney every time by. Whether McCartney will move up and give him a lane, that's going to be the big question here.
With 14 to go, you know, I almost think maybe that him and Jeff were preserving a little bit of tire and see if they can keep moving up here together.
That is always a possibility, as Hollingsworth might start making a charge here towards the end as well. Glazer, no lane around the 18 of McCartney. Has a run down the back straightaway, might try to peek the nose on the inside. You look at the front, Bell is quickly catching your leader, Steele, and we may have a battle before this thing's said and done.
And Kyle McCartney and Bentley getting closer and closer. Jeff able to close up the gap on Bentley now as he was starting to fall back a little bit. And like you said, Jackson Bell is just cutting and cutting into Ryan Steele's lead on him right now.
That he is. Glazer falls a little bit back of the 18 that last time by. Makes another run down the back straightaway, so it seems that McCartney is getting a slightly better run out of 4. Oh, here comes Hollingsworth. As I say that, we got a 3-dog race for third. Hollingsworth throws his name in the hat. This, ladies and gentlemen, is about to get good as they all three simultaneously get inches away from the turn 4 wall.
Jackson Bell's cut it down to 0.164 seconds as he's running a groove just a touch lower than what Ryan Steele's running right now. You got to figure a little bit of that is tires as he's starting to take a look to the inside.
Oh, big cut! 87 and the 18, as you were saying that. 3 wide for third. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Glazer and McCartney made contact. Glazer taking the brunt of it as he's going to be forced to pull back in line, but behind both the 97 and the 18. What a shakeup we just saw there.
And with 10 to go here, Ryan, it's getting really dicey within the top 5 as Hollingsworth's able to clear McCartney and Bentley looking to take advantage on the inside of the track as well. See if Kyle can make a good run off the outside. It looks like he will. And Bentley with a hard charge right now.
So it's Hollingsworth taking the 3rd position. Glazer currently sits 4th. McCartney falls back to 5th. He shoves it in. Contact with the left rear quarter panel. Doesn't spin though. Glazer, amazing. Apologies over the receivers. From McCartney to Glazer, gonna give way to Glazer, who has fourth clean and clear. But Bentley Glazer being challenged awfully mightily by Kyle McCartney there. That may just do it. And oh my lord, big makings out of the front of this one. New leader, it's Jackson Bell in the 23.
And if Jackson or Ryan can get it done, we're going to see just, you know, our sixth new winner of the season here, with Bentley holding 4 of them.
That's exactly right. Your current winners on the year are Glazer, Beltrami, Barnes, Hollingsworth, and McCartney as of last week. And if Bell can hold off for these last 6, make it 7 laps, he will be another new winner here for the WSRL Truck Series in their 44th season of operation.
And Ryan Steele now starting to reel in on Jackson Bell again here. And Hollingsworth not going to let go of Ryan Steele easily.
That's exactly right. He's mounting a comeback here as we go into lap number 114. To the inside of the 6 of Fleet goes the 23 of Bell. The 12 follows right along. Do not count out the 97 of Hollingsworth. He is mounting a hard charge here late in this race. Hollingsworth knows he has the truck to do it. Last week came up oh so short of a win at IRP. This week that 97 looks like he's been the second, maybe first fastest guy all night long. And he is trying to prove it here in these late stages as he goes to the inside of Fleet, getting himself on a level playing field with your top 2.
As we make our way into lap 115 of 120, Jackson Bell, Ryan Steele, Jeff Hollingsworth, Bentley Glazer, followed by the lap car, which is the 6, the Winn-Dixie car. Kyle McCartney and Carl Burke, your top 6.
So 5 fingers in the air from the flagman this time. 5 to go. 116, 117, 118, 119, and of course 120. That gives us 5 to go this time. By my math's good now. It wasn't earlier, but it's good now. And right now the 23 of Bell, all out front in front of the 12 of Steele, both looking for their first win of the year. But you have a hard charging Hollingsworth and Glazer right behind them. Taking a look around the racetrack, a lot of battles going on, but none really for position. You got the 28 of Fletcher arguing, battling with the 16 of Weaver. Weaver passes him. Fletcher has been a driver who's been lucky to stay on the lead lap all night long. Hasn't been mightily fast, but has had a good, solid run here out of that number 28 Haviland machine. As we keep looking around, Beltrami, smooth sailing for him. Burke, smooth sailing for him in 5th. We go all the way back to Bentley Glazer, riding around in the 4th position, trying to mount another hard charge on the 97 of Hollingsworth, but Glazer pushing it in awfully hard in these corners.
I was just about to say, these guys are really starting to get tightened up here. You know, Jackson was starting to get a little bit of a gap on Ryan. He certainly closed that down. And as I was thinking that, Hollingsworth closing down on him, and Bentley's on top of Hollingsworth. So we're really going to see a good finish here.
2 fingers in the air last time by from the flagman. 2 fingers. The popsicle sticks of destiny for Jackson Bell have been presented. He's got to come around and take the white flag next time by. Steele has to mount a charge here. He may look to use these 2 lap cars, the 19 and the 07, as a pick, and that might just be what he does. Steele mounting a charge here. White flag presented to the 23 of Bell. The 07 is going to stay up and out of the way, so that might do it here for the 12 as the 23 is clean into turn number 1 here as the white flag has been waved. 1 lap to go.
And Hollingsworth going to make his way around that lap car down the back stretch, as well as Bentley.
But off of turn number 4, The driver out of the New England area, Jackson Bell, has run 10 races this year, hasn't won yet, but he does here at the Milwaukee Mile. Great win for the 23, gets a love tap in the butt from the 12 there. A fantastic race by those two. It was Bell finishing first, Steele second, Hollingsworth third, Glazer fourth, McCartney fifth, Burke sixth, Barnes seventh, Schmeier eighth, Gall ninth. Bob Beltrami rounded out your top 10.
Wayne Hutchinson gonna sit in that 11th spot. William Fletcher 12th. Earl Weaver 13th. Ron Holyfield 14th. Ryan Patty 15th. Kevin Thrift 16th. David Weaver 17th. Eric Woods 18th. Barry Phil 19th. Keith Kellman 20th. Dennis Fuson 21st. Dustin Burns 22nd. James Campbell 23rd. Wayne Fleet 24th. And Mark McFadden and Dan Stussy not going to finish the night tonight, Ryan.
That's exactly right. And real quick, we're going to have a word with your top 3 finishers. But right quick before we do, we want to remind you that tonight's broadcast of the Western States Racing League was brought to you by Diecast Nuts, as well as Rocket Racing Setups, and as well as Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. Go check out all of those great sponsors here. Next up on the cards for the Western States Racing League is, I believe, the Chicagoland Speedway. That it is next Tuesday night at 10:05 p.m. You can catch us right back here on ESPN with the Western States Racing League at the Chicagoland Speedway. And now we're going to get right into it. Joining us in the broadcast booth, your winner tonight in the 23 machine, Mr. Jackson Bell. Jackson, it's Ryan from ESPN. You got a copy, buddy?
I got a copy.
Oh, man, you have to be extremely excited. Finally, this year, claiming victory lane for the first time, man. Give me some of your thoughts.
Man, it was a very stressful last few laps as I had to hold off Ryan on old tires, but kind of gambled on the strategy there at the end. I honestly thought the race was over when I stayed out on old tires and was in second coming to the restart. I just dropped like a rock, but I was lucky enough to get that yellow and work my way back up through the field. So yeah, relief to get the win.
I bet you are feeling much relieved, especially during that race. Towards the end of that race, the guy who dominated most of it, Bentley Glazer, he got sent to the back on a weird penalty there. That must have had you breathing a huge sigh of relief from that point on, huh?
Yeah, definitely. He's probably the fastest car out there tonight. So yeah, huge sigh of relief to have him sent back to the back of the pack. But it's not how I'd like to win, of course. But yeah, he was the car to beat. Shame he got sent to the back, but yeah, it was a fun race.
It was it was a shame and a blessing, all wrapped into one little present for you. Like I said, you finally broken through, gotten your first win of the year. You're taking this momentum to the Chicagoland Speedway. How are you going to prepare for a much bigger track as we move forward here in the season?
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to do a lot of practice as I've never ran a truck at Chicagoland. I've ran Indy cars there, but not a NASCAR truck. So gonna have a lot of practice this week and hope to come out firing on next Tuesday.
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. Jackson, before we let you go and celebrate your first win of the season here tonight, who are some of the people you want to thank for helping you out on the truck?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to thank my employer at Sinclair, John Fawcett, who's watching the race tonight, as well as my friend Pasha Zar, who's also watching the race. So those guys, hopefully they're entertained. So yeah.
Well, they should have been, as she got that Sinclair truck to victory lane here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your winner, Mr. Jackson Bell.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. So up next, we're going to get your second place finisher, Mr. Ryan Steele, in here. And Ben, I'm going to let you have a word with Mr. Ryan Steele momentarily.
It would be an honor to do that for you, Ryan.
Yes, sir. He's in.
Hey, Ryan. Sorry, you got me? You there, Ryan?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Hey, halfway point of the season here, sitting sixth in the points. Take us through what was able to keep you towards the front of the pack here today.
Well, I was saying before the race, he who gets tires last wins the race. And I went with that strategy. And that was pretty much all there was to it, really.
Yeah, things got interesting there as we got a long green run and then a big caution coming up really kind of shuffled things up down the run. Were you a little bit worried about when that happened and those guys and who came and who didn't having 10 lap fresher tires and stuff like that?
I mean, that was a little bit of a concern. I know some guys might not know who has tires and who doesn't, and might not be prepared for the speed differences that the tires have after even as little as 5 laps. But things seemed to work out just fine, so it wasn't a big deal.
Certainly, it was a really great run, and it was a lot of fun to watch from the booth. I'm pretty sure that everybody watching at home probably had a lot of fun too. Looking forward to Chicagoland next weekend. What's going to be the key to staying at the front of the field at a bigger track like that next week?
I don't know. I'll let you know after I've done the race. I think I have raced a truck at Chicagoland in probably 8 or 9 years back when it was on the old Silverado. I think it might be similar to running Kansas, which I think I did pretty well there. So I think that'll be how it kind of goes.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you next week at Chicagoland. You're always a blast to watch, really mixing it up with all these guys. Who do you want to thank for making that truck that fast, and who would you like to give some shout outs to here tonight?
I just got to thank my dog bear buddies for helping me prepare for this race. We were all talking about, what does our brake bias got to be at? No, that number is crazy low. You can't run that. And having that feedback to know what's going on helped me prepare every week.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for the time talking with me, and everybody at home loves hearing from you guys. So look forward to watching you next week.
Yep. Thank you. See you next week.
Congratulations once again to Ryan Steele for a second place finish. And up next, we're going to get to talk to the man who came home third. An abundant late charge came out of the 97 of Jeff Hollingsworth. I'm going to be excited to see what he's got to say about that. Speak of the devil, the man himself is here. Jeff, it's Ryan up in the booth. You got a copy of me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
There he is, Mr. Jeff Hollingsworth himself. Jeff, you had a pretty fantastic run here tonight, if I do say so myself. You seem to be one of those front runners lap in, lap out all night long. You ran into a couple of situations where you found yourself off of the leaders. How important was it for you to rebound and get another top 3 here tonight?
All the points, of course. It's all about that.
Mm-hmm.
But, it just so the cautions kind of didn't fall our way. We had a pit with just a few laps on the tires, and the guys with freshies, man, they were way faster. So that's why when that second caution happened, we went back in.
Yeah, and it for the most part, it seemed to be the Glazer Hollingsworth show up front for most of that race. I know you guys are relatively good friends. Did you two have sort of a pact to kind of work together and be around each other through most of that race?
Well, we always race as a team. When I was ahead of him after we pit under green, and he was coming up on me, he was quicker, and I just pulled over and let him go. That's how we roll. But at the end there, we're racing. So there's nothing like I forget who it was, him and McCarthy, I think. They were racing. They kind of had a boggle, and I saw that lane low, and I said, well, we only have a few to go. I'm taking it. And I told Vitley the whole time, I'm sorry, man. It was there,
That was exactly where that question was leading to, that late race pass that you made on both him and Kyle McCartney. From then, it was pretty much smooth sailing for you. It looked like you were going to mount a charge on Bell and Steele. But hey, another week, another top 3 interview. You cannot be disappointed with that as we look forward to getting back into some bigger tracks for the WSRL season.
No, not disappointed at all. cautions are part of it. So that's just how it goes down. You can't really say, well, if this and if that, in the moment you're mad, you're like, God dang it, need that to happen. But it's a race; it has to play out. But yeah, this league is tough, man. I mean, we're trying to stay up there in the points. Try to do well for the whole season, and that's what me and Bentley and when Charlie can race, we're all gonna do it.
Yes, sir. And it looks like I'm looking at the points right now. It looks like coming out of this race, you are going to take a solo third place away from this race. May even inch yourself closer to Beltrami going into, I believe, the Chicagoland Speedway next week. Is that one of those? Do you find yourself comfortable enough on those bigger tracks to continue to mount a charge towards Bentley at the top of the standings?
I feel comfortable that I'll do okay, but I think that mile and halves, this is a lot of people's that's their wheelhouse, So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be real stiff competition up and down the board all the way.
It definitely will be. Now, real quick before we let you go and celebrate another top 3 finish here, who would you like to thank on the race truck this week?
Of course, Bentley, my teammate, and Charlie, and the other guys that can't make it out. Troy Campbell, um, James Durr. Anyways, those guys, you guys for the broadcast. Like I said, I love watching them. I know everybody does. You guys do such a great job, and the graphics are really good. And I don't know, there's just I've been doing this a while, and this is one of the best ones I've ever seen. I don't usually get on and watch races that I'm not in, and I'll do it with ESPN. And also Bob for putting this league on and just sticking it out all these years, and putting it on. And that's it, man.
All right. Well, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you, Jeff, and hopefully, barring a good run, we'll get to talk to you again next week. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher, Mr. Jeff Hollingsworth.
Yeah, thank you guys. Real quick, great finish to Ryan and Jackson as well, and great race, everybody.
It definitely was. Now, looking forward in our ESPN broadcast schedule this week, I know we will not have a Dirty Old Bastards 410 Sprint Car Series event this week. I know we will have Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series on Friday. And if I can just get a quick word in from our executive producer on what else we have, I'll let you know momentarily. Looks like Sim Racers Edge Series tomorrow will be at the Homestead Miami Speedway again. Thursday we don't have DOB. Friday Circle B Diecast. Saturday we have the E-Formula finale at Sandvot. And then Sunday, Sim Racers Edge Bravo Series at Silverstone Saturday as well. Then we will round out the week with nothing on Sunday. So a happy Sunday to everybody. So that should about do it for me, Mr. Ben Bruner. Do you have any takeaways from tonight's race?
We made it over the halfway point. We got great points battles all up and down. Typical same old stuff from me, Ryan, but it really makes it fun to watch. And, like Jeff said, he's not one to really watch many other broadcasts, but when it's with ESPN, it's always a lot of fun. And I was talking to Sam Cooper Bennett about, all of our series being really good, tight in points. So it's always a thrill to watch. If you haven't yet, you got to stop by ESPN, hit the follow button, hit the notifications button. What do you got, Ryan? You got anything to take us away?
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you there. ESPN always bringing you the best quality iRacing series around. And like you said, I mean, even this points battle, there's 40 points separating the top 5. And Barnes and Hollingsworth are inching their way closer. And other series, those points battles so close. So keep an eye on what we have for the rest of the week here at ESPN. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for once again joining us. Hit the subscribe button, hit the follow if you're on Facebook, if you're on our Twitch, if we're streaming there tonight, hit that follow as well. Get us to that 1,500 subscriber mark so I can see that beautiful tattoo on Sam. But for myself, for Mr. Ben Bruno, and for executive producer Sam Cooper Bennett, We bid you a goodbye and a good night here. See you next time on ESPN.